Hi there, I'm Claire Feldman, the Food Freedom Coach, and I help women overcome the misery of endless diet and binge cycles and help them truly find freedom from food. Now, in my previous video, I talked about the importance of blood sugar stability and good nutrition to try and reduce sugar cravings. And in this video, as a follow-up, I'm going to talk a little bit about what happens when it's emotions that are driving us to food and to sweet foods. So I suppose the first thing that I would say is that it is so, it's so common and so understandable that we turn to foods at times when we feel stressed and overwhelmed. And there's a really good reason for that. So when we are in a state of stress, our body tends to be maybe tense, it tends to be agitated, our cortisol levels are high, and the amygdala in our brain is really activated, and we're in this kind of hyper state, we're in this fight or flight response. And when we're in that kind of high anxiety state and that high stress state, we're looking for something to soothe us. And there's nothing better than chocolate or sugar to help soothe us. It releases dopamine in the brain, it helps to calm us down, and it is soothing. So it is really fit for purpose, and it really does its job. And it's very understandable why, as people, that's what we turn to, because if you think yourself back to your earliest memories of what would happen for you perhaps when you were young and you got really upset or you fell and you hurt yourself, how often would you have been offered maybe a sweet or a treat or something to stop crying or to try and make you feel better? So we have these really deeply ingrained kind of behaviours around using food as a means of comfort. So it's really important to understand that, because quite often we give ourselves a really hard time. We beat ourselves up because we think, I just have no willpower here and I can't stop eating these foods. But this is something that has been embedded in you literally right from birth, when you were receiving sweet milk. You were trained to be soothed by food. So it's really understandable now that as an adult, perhaps when I feel a negative emotion, my memory bank just pulls out all of these memories of me being soothed with food, and so it's my automatic default that I turn to at times of distress. So it's important, I suppose, to understand a lot of the time that that's what's going on. And in order to try and overcome this pattern or overcome this cycle, I need to do something that's going to break that chain. And what we tend to do, or what I would say an awful lot, is that we try to rely on just kind of white knuckling it through. And by white knuckling it, I mean that we just say, well, I'm not going to have any, I'm not going to have any. The problem with telling yourself that you're not going to have any is that your brain hears something very different. So if I was to say to you right now, whatever you do, don't think about a pink elephant. Now, it's really important that whatever you do, don't think about a pink elephant. I'm wondering what's happening right now. You're imagining that big pink elephant and you can't get it out of your mind. This is exactly the same as what happens with food. When you're saying, don't eat chocolate, you're not allowed chocolate, all your brain is actually hearing is chocolate. I want chocolate. And the problem with this is that when we try to rely just on white knuckling it and just telling ourselves that we can't have it, our desire for that food suddenly just goes through the roof, and it becomes an overwhelming craving. So we might be able to white knuckle it for a certain length of time, but eventually the craving just becomes unbearable. We give in, and then because it's something that we have denied ourselves, we've denied ourselves this pleasure, that when we eat it, we tend to overconsume and consume way more than what we would do normally. And then what often happens after that is that we feel really guilty and we feel full of self-loathing about what we have done. And so we go back to denial and restrict again. And then we repeat these patterns over and over and over again. So my advice would be to not rely on white knuckling it in order to overcome your cravings. And what I would suggest that you do, and I do this with all my clients, is that you journal. And the purpose of journaling is not to record how many calories you've eaten or anything like that. The purpose of journaling is for you to really get a good understanding of what is driving you to eat at certain times. So you'll be able to see from your journal, am I craving sweet foods here because I simply haven't ate enough during the day, or my choice of foods hasn't been sufficient to keep my blood sugar stable? Am I eating because I allowed myself to get beyond the point of natural hunger and I became over hungry? But it'll also let you see things like, when am I eating here because I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling like I can't cope with the amount of work that I have to do. I feel like I'm spinning plates. I feel stressed. I feel agitated. I feel angry. I feel lonely. I feel bored. That you're able to start to identify what is actually the emotion that's going on here. What is the dialogue that I'm telling myself in my mind that's making me turn to this food? And what we're able to do whenever we start journaling and we start to really understand these non-hunger kind of triggers that we have for eating, we can start to build up kind of like resources and a bit of a kind of toolkit for ourselves to try and deal with these things differently. And like anything, it takes practice. We can't change these things overnight, but the more we practice these new strategies and these new skills, we develop these new muscles that we can activate much quicker, and that it becomes then a more ingrained habit. So what I would say is that when you perhaps recognize that you have a trigger, so say your trigger is stress, and you're going to your usual habit of chocolate, what emotion does that give you then? What emotion does eating the chocolate give you? So it may be, it makes me feel relaxed. It makes me feel calm. So what we want to really have a think about is, what behaviour do I need to engage in instead that's going to make me feel calm and it's going to make me feel relaxed? So white knuckling it and just trying to distract yourself and, fight the little voice that's telling you to eat the chocolate, that's not going to help you. That's going to make you feel more distressed. What other activities could you do that might make you feel calm? And this is going to be different for everybody. So that might be going for a walk, it might be running a bath, it might be doing a face mask, it might be listening to an audiobook, it might be playing with your dogs, it could be all sorts of different activities. But think about, what would be a good strategy for me to have when I have this feeling of stress, when I have this craving? What would be a good behaviour or strategy for me to try in this moment to chase this same feeling of relaxation and relief that I am seeking? Okay, and it's using strategies like this. That's just one example, that when we use strategies like this, what we're trying to do is almost reprogram our mind to its automatic program that it tends to use at times when you experience these negative emotions. Another great strategy that's probably my favourite is tapping. I find tapping is a fantastic tool to help kind of put a circuit breaker in cravings that can very, very quickly remove any strong desire for cravings. And what I'll do is I'll put a little link above to the cravings video that you can have a little practice and tap along with. So in preparation for that video, what you might want to do is get what your favourite kind of go-to comfort food is, whether it's a bar of chocolate, and get your most favourite bar of chocolate that you really struggle to say no to, and have that ready to then tap along to this next video. So I hope you find this video useful, and I have included in the comment section below a link to my free Unlock Your Emotional Eating workbook. If you would like to download a free copy of that, just simply click on the link below, and have a great day.